to you by New Corn Silk, a unique cosmetic discovery. A face powder made from corn. New Corn Silk from Schulten Cosmetics. And now let's all play What's My Line? And now, live from New York, let's meet our What's My Line panel. First, the popular actor soon to be seen on the screen in The Alphabet Murders with Robert Morley and Anita Ekberg, Tony Randall.
It is a pleasure to welcome back to What's My Line the editor-in-chief of Cosmopolitan magazine, Helen Gurley Brown.
It's a great pleasure for me to introduce a man who is witty, charming, sexy, a fabulous actor, and the prince of diction, Mr. Martin Gabel.
As I have been so described, I'm rather timid about introducing the lady on my left, but you all know her, Arlene Francis.
And now, since Bennett is vacationing in California, I have a pleasure that seldom falls to me, and that is of introducing our moderator, one of the most attractive and ablest men, both on and off television, Mr. John Charles Daly.
I must say, Miss Arlene, you got to give it to Bennett. 2 Sundays we had in a row with the snow howling and screaming around, and where is he today? He's in California. A little work and play will do him some good. We'll have him back with us next week. Mrs. Brown, it's nice to see you with us again. And Martin, I'm glad you're here tonight because we've got some little tricks, I think, to play on you tonight. We've gone to some effort to see if we can't stick you soundly. I'll tell you which one the effort went into, particularly later on. We'll also have a famous mystery guest before my friends on the panel a little bit later in the show, but right now we'll meet our first contestant. Will you enter and sign in, please? Shiva Rappaport, right, ma'am? Miss or Mrs.?
Mrs.
Mrs. Rappaport.
That's right.
And where are you from?
Allentown, Pennsylvania.
Allentown, Pennsylvania. Nice to have you with us. Mrs. Rappaport, may I introduce the panel? Now, if you'll join me over here, we'll let the audience in the theater and the audience at home know exactly what your line is. All right. Panel, we can tell you that Mrs. Rappaport is self-employed and deals in a service, and we'll get things rolling with Tony Randall.
Is this a service, Mrs. Rappaport, you perform with your hands?
Yes.
I ask because your hands look as if you work with them. Would you call it a physical rather than a mental service?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. With your permission, I would say that you should not be misled there. Certainly, that manual skill is highly necessary, but at the same time, a good deal of mental application is equally very necessary.
Is a degree of mastery required with your hands that would equal that, say, of a concert pianist?
Yes.
The only thing equal to that is a concert pianist.
No.
But virtuosity is required. Did I get a no?
Well, you didn't really pose it as a question.
Right.
We'll take that as an aside. Now, we're talking about equivalent values in manual skill, right? Mm-hmm.
Is the skill that you have mastered directed towards the accomplishment of a work of art?
No.
No. 1 down and 9 to go, Mrs. Brown.
Is your service enjoyed equally by men and women?
Yes, it is.
Do you perform this particular service indoors?
Yes.
I take it it's not performed in a household. It's more apt to be in another kind of building.
Yes.
Are you able to take care of more than one person at a time?
No.
That's 2 down, a date to go, Mr. Gabel.
Miss Rappaport, I went to Allentown Preparatory School, which no longer exists.
Well,
I think it had something to do with my going there.
Martin, I take it you're not taking sole blame, you know, because if so, I'll take pride in Tilton School still existing.
John, it's been a long time since you mentioned Tilton, and I'm glad to, in some small way, have given you an opportunity of raising the name of that great school. Do you do your masterful work in Allentown, Miss Rappaport?
Yes.
Do you do it before, when you do it on the individual upon which you do it, do you do it before groups of people?
No.
No. 3 down and 7 to go, Miss Francis.
When you perform your service, Miss Rappaport, do you use any instruments of any kind?
Yes.
Would they be considered medical instruments?
Yes.
Do you have a title with your name?
Yes.
Would the title be doctor?
Yes.
Now, where does she operate?
Above the neck.
Well, your teeth are beautiful. Are you by any chance a dentist?
Yes.
Actually, even more precisely, a periodontist, right?
That's correct.
Did I do that properly?
You certainly
I'm
did.
fine. Actually, Mrs. Rappaport graduated from Temple University Dental School with outstanding honors. Matter of fact, the outstanding 4-year record for any member of the distaff element who took up dentistry. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Good to have you here this week, because if I read my Sunday papers well, this is the beginning of Children's Dental Week, is it?
That's correct.
Children's
National
Dental.
Children's Dental Health Week.
Good. And I hope that seeing such a lovely dentist will persuade all of our young people they should brush their teeth. Well, they should brush their teeth, but rather go to the dentist in Allentown. I think that's a much better idea. Well, thank you. Thanks very much. I was hoping we'd stick them over because you are extraordinarily lovely for the dental occupation. For a dentist. I guess that's a preconception we all have of dentists, but you certainly have made me think of dentists more kindly from here on in.
Well, I'm glad.
Thank you very much. Doctor, it's very nice to have you here. Tony looked like he was trying to get a free treatment there. We'll have another contestant for you in just a moment after this word. And now to meet our next challenger, will you enter and sign in, please? S.S. Beasley. Right, sir? Mr. Beasley, would you tell us where you're from?
I'm from Ludhiana, Punjab, that's India. Now I'm coming from Las Vegas, Nevada.
You're from the Punjab in India, but you're presently in Las Vegas,
Las Vegas, Nevada.
Fine, nice to have you with us. Mr. Beasley, may I present the panel? If you'll join me over here, sir, we'll let the audience in the theater and the audience at home know exactly what your line is. We can tell you that Mr. Beasley is salaried and deals in a service, and we'll begin the general questioning with Arlene Francis.
Well, Mr. Beasley, since you are now occupied in Las Vegas, is it possible that you have anything to do with the marvelous gaming tables in Las Vegas?
No.
No. 1 down and 9 to go, Mr. Randall.
If you want to learn about shooting dice, my wife can help.
Do you work for a profit-making organization?
No.
That's 2 down and 8 to go, Mrs. Brown.
Does the thing that you do in Las Vegas have something to do with Las Vegas? In other words, is it more natural to be happening in Las Vegas than in some other city? That's a very difficult question to answer. No.
No. It would be a no,
No.
Mrs. Brown. What he does in Las Vegas could be done in many other places. Mr. Gabel.
Are you in Las Vegas on a temporary basis rather than a permanent one?
Temporary basis, yes, correct.
Are you trying to acquire some skills or disciplines in Las Vegas that you can then take elsewhere?
That's correct.
You're learning something in Las Vegas that perhaps you might take back to the Punjab, is that it?
That's not Punjab, but to India.
Someplace.
Yeah. That's correct.
Well, Las Vegas is a very distinguished place, but what it offers beyond the casinos and the beautiful hotels and the sun is difficult to determine. Is it something that is peculiar to that part of the world, if not Las Vegas itself, what you are learning there?
No.
Nope.
No.
4 down and 6 to go,
No.
Miss Francis.
Is your job outdoors rather than indoors?
That's correct.
Do you have anything to do with the growth in the soil of anything?
No.
Nope. 5 down and 5 to go, Mr. Randall.
If I understood my last no correctly, you work for a non-profit making organization.
That's correct.
Do you work for a governmental agency?
Yes,
Do you work for your government?
that's correct.
You are here in some way as an emissary of your government. Do you ordinarily wear clothes other than those you have on now when you perform your duties?
That's correct.
Are you in the armed services of your government?
That's correct.
And you're studying something in Las Vegas that the armed services of India need to know.
Very good. Excellent. Go on.
Are you in the, well, does that have something to do with, I don't know what our armed services do in Las Vegas. Or rather, I do know what they do in Las Vegas. And it would be unpatriotic to mention it.
Besides, Tony's so peaceful at times.
Yes, I presume you're
Now, let's be fair, Tony. You know, in Las Vegas, we're speaking of the Las Vegas area.
Yes,
This would be
yes.
the post office nearest sort of thing. Hmm?
Yes. Well, you're going to some army school that we operate
Yes.
to study something like, well, is Los Alamos near there?
Not army.
Not
Armed services.
Yeah.
Not army.
Yeah, I'm going to have to give you a no because of the presumption of army. That's 6
Yes.
down and 4 to go, Mrs. Brown.
Does it have something to do with aircraft?
That's correct.
Does it have to do with the actual operation of an aircraft?
Yes.
Is it a specific aircraft for which training is conducted in that area? A specific make of plane?
Not the specific make of the plane, but
A type of
type
plane.
of plane.
A type
Any
of-
type.
Yeah.
Oh, it could be found on many different... Well, I got a no, didn't
Yes.
No, not really. I'm going to put all the cards, because I think you're so close, it's only fair to you. I'll throw all the cards over, because Lieutenant Beasley is a jet pilot. Actually is at Nellis Air Force Base, where he is taking training, and he flies an F-86, and he's taking training in gunnery, and I guess a lot of other things at
Yeah,
the same
that's
time. And of course, I had the temerity to say to Lieutenant Beasley, how do you get a flying helmet on over that turban? And he had a very simple answer. Takes the turban off.
I can't put the turban on.
You can't put it on with a flying helmet.
Yeah, that's true.
How long have you been here, Lieutenant?
About 6.5 months.
How much longer are you going to be at Nellis?
About 1.5 weeks more.
And then going home again.
Going back.
Well, it's nice to have had you visiting with us, and we hope that you enjoyed Las Vegas with all of its blandishments. But more, we hope you enjoyed America. And thanks very much for joining us in What's My Line? We'll meet tonight's mystery guest in just a moment, but first, this message. And now we come to the special feature of our program, the appearance of our mystery challenger, for which the panel is always blindfolded. Blindfolds are in the process of being lodged in their proper locations. Are all blindfolds in place?
Yes, sir.
Yes, John.
Right. Will our mystery challenger enter and sign in, please? As you know, panel, different form of questioning, one question at a time, in turn moving clockwise, and we will begin with Martin Gabel.
I don't have to ask if you're female. I know that from the whistles. So I'll go on to say, are you an actress?
Well, I should only hope so. The Dunderblitz and Domkopf, of course.
Yes. Miss Francis?
It is an actress.
Yeah.
Yes. Are you playing on Broadway at the present time?
No, I am not.
1 down and 9 to go, Mr. Randall.
Träum so viel von dir, komm doch mal zu mir.
There's some whispering going on that might be from the audience.
No.
No. Are you, when we said, when the question about Broadway was asked, I presume that meant the Broadway stage. Are you in a movie that is about to be seen or is now being seen in this area?
No, I'm not. I'm going to make one, but it's not made yet.
Yeah. 2 down and 8 to go, Mrs. Brown.
Are you by any chance appearing in a nightclub engagement here in New York?
No.
That's 3 down and 7 to go, Mr. Gabel.
Do you sing?
Yes.
Miss Francis?
Beautifully.
May I take a guess, John?
Just a moment. What'd you say, Martin?
May I take a guess?
Well, you surely may.
Are you Pearl Bailey?
That's 4 down and 6 to go, Miss Francis. That was a no, Martin.
Well, since there was such an enormous laugh on our guest's answer about her singing, may I assume that that is not primarily for what our guest is known?
Very well as a singer.
No, very well known as a singer.
Oh, very well known.
Yep, 5 down and 5 to go, Mr. Randall.
Shooting flutes.
I think I've got... What? May I take a stab?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Rosie Clooney?
Oh, that's fine. That's 6 down and 4 to go, Mrs. Brown.
right.
Are you more known for a popular kind of singing as opposed to operatic singing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mr. Gabel.
Inclined.
Have you appeared in Broadway musicals in the past?
Yes.
Yes, Miss
Are you
Francis.
Ethel Merman?
Got to give you a no on that. Name was dropped in, 7 down and 3 to go, Miss Francis.
Oh,
Why do I just mean no on Merman?
no on Merman. Or is it no on Merman?
Yes.
Sometimes that's very sneaky. That was a no.
Yeah. Name was
John would
mentioned
never
and we
be
gave a
seen,
no.
Arlene.
Have you authored a book?
No.
8 down and 2 to go, Mr. Randall.
Are you a regular on television?
You mean weekly in a
No,
weekly...
I meant commonly seen on television. Often seen on television.
I've been seen
Yeah.
on television.
Mm-hmm. Mrs. Brown?
Did you say earlier that you are a Broadway performer? You have been in shows before? That was a question Mr. Gabel asked.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yes, you have. Well, this is the last question then, isn't it?
No, we have 2 more.
You're not on Broadway now. Have you been in a Broadway show during the last year?
Yes.
Mr. Gabel?
I passed to my wife.
Miss Francis?
Why did you do that? Suffering in the last year.
Last year in a musical.
Yeah. Is Carol Channing
Carol
back
Channing.
in town? Is it?
I I think if we'd braced her, though, Carol, she might have changed her mind, but
Don't
the
you know
applause gave it
Arlene would
away.
get it. I just flew in from Chicago.
I thought you were on the road still.
Yes, she is. She flew in from
We're
Chicago.
playing Hello, Dolly in Chicago.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, well,
How are you doing here?
Well,
That's
it's
the
very
trick.
cold.
You had the outfit.
Well, it's blizzard.
Do you have a dress on, Carol?
It's very cold. I came in to see old friends like you, Arlene,
What a
and
lovely
Martin,
surprise.
and new friends, and to tell all of my friends, all of my friends like you folks at home, I wanted to tell you something very special is going to happen on this very network. Did you know, John?
Yeah.
On February the 18th, it's going to be at 8:30 at night. That's a week from this Friday, my very first time that I'm ever doing a television special.
Good girl.
Yeah, it's with my dear friend, my beloved friend David McCallum, and my old friend George Burns, my lifelong friend, and 75 other type friends. And I do hope all you friends will be listening, because then we'll all be happy together. And it's in color, too. Yes, it is.
Before she leaves, could she tell us anything else about it?
John, what I want to know is why did Carol fly in from Chicago?
Well, I flew in to tell you about how this is on February the 18th. I'll be flying to Washington just to watch it with other friends in Washington. Did you know, John?
I didn't know you were going to Washington, no.
Oh, how
Yeah.
lucky for all of us, Carol. That's February 18th, isn't it, on this?
Eastern Standard Time.
Now, wait a minute.
However, it's 7:30 at night, Central Standard Time.
But wait a minute. Now, to be fair, you know, I told you we'd played some tricks, and you've got to admit we played a trick on you. We did ask Carol if she would fly in from Chicago, where she's doing Dolly, and you'd have no idea that anybody like Carol Channing would be in New York, and we hoped to hang you completely with it. We came pretty close, 8-2.
It was so nice of her to do it. I just can't get over it.
Arlene wrote me a letter. You wrote me a letter while I was in Chicago. Arlene wrote me a letter. She did. I was so homesick, and I was so glad to get your letter.
Well, I don't see why you were
Anytime.
homesick. I went to San Francisco at the end of the year, and you had been there, and Lou Laurie told me that he's never been so embarrassed in his life. Everybody wanted tickets. You haven't had an empty seat anywhere you've been, I think.
Not one. Isn't it lovely? And we played to 6,000 people a night in Oklahoma City.
Isn't that good?
And I've been made an Indian. And
You've been made an Indian?
Yes, and
What's
I have this
what's your
father,
name?
The Oto tribe. My name is Princess Bakahi Dakun, which means blazing star.
Blazing Star.
Yes,
That's
but right now, Daryl, all my tribe is going to watch on February the 18th. And I have this father, this marvelous Indian chief, and he could be my father. He's tall. And he's going to be watching, too.
Oh,
and we
how
go to
lovely.
Washington, and
Wonderful.
and the Johnsons are friends, too, just like you and I are. And Bunsey will watch.
And
won't
Bunsey will watch for
he?
sure.
Well, see, that's his daughter, you know. He has 2 daughters. I haven't conversed with his new daughter.
John, Carol and I went to school together, and it's always been hard to get her to talk.
I'm surprised. You know, next week, I don't suppose you all remember this, although I said something last week about it. Next week is our 16th anniversary. And guess who's going to be on the panel?
Who?
Ginger Rogers, who's playing Hello, Dolly here in New York. And the other surprise, there's no surprise if you read your papers,
to wave.
Mark Goodson, who with Bill Todman
Yes.
started all this, 16 long years ago, always wanted to be on the panel. He plays it in The Office. And we got him on the panel next week, so brace yourself. That's some fun. Thank you, Carol. Give that good husband of yours my very best. Good to see you, Carol. Take care. Tony, was that February 18th? Was that?
Yeah.
That was the date. Okay. Well, you've done very well, panel, I think, considering we played tricks.
Birthday in Washington.
Between Lincoln's. So we'll all be back after this word. Mrs. Brown, may I say how nice it has been to have you back with us again. Hope you'll come again soon. Martin, always good to see you there. And Tony, good night to you. Tony
Not so
Randall.
good to see you.
You want me to say good night?
Yeah.
I don't feel like leaving. Good night, John. Good night, Helen.
Good night, Tony. Good night, Martin.
Good night, Helen. Arlene.
I noticed you didn't say good night to me. Clever. Good night, Bennett. Good night, John.
Good night, Bennett, and have lots of fun. We'll see you next week, and thanks to all of you for being with us on What's My Line?
What's My Line is a CBS television network production in association with cotton. This is Johnny Olson speaking.